Rob, I'm ready. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to sell my house. I'm going to burn down all my bridges. I'm going to live out of my car, and I'm going to be a musician full time. What's your reaction? What do you say to them? What's the first piece of advice you give them?
Good luck with that shit.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Words of Fang. We are still here at the Between the Waves Music Conference. Check it out, btwmadison.com. A lot of amazing speakers, and of course we're sitting down with one of them, Rob Dees.
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Chilling, man. How are you?
I'm very good. I've been busy. I've been speaking with a lot of people. It's been super fun.
Yes.
Okay, so for the people who don't know anything about the amazing Rob Dees, let us know. What are you all about?
It all started in a one-room shack in Beloit, Wisconsin. I'm just kidding. My name is Rob. I am a musician, educator, activist, and socialite.
Oh,
I think that would be the best way to describe everything.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
And let them know what sort of genres do you normally work with? What do you normally do in terms of your teaching and stuff like that?
As far as musician-wise, I'm in the genre of hip hop. I started in hip hop. I've kind of matured in the spoken word jazz kind of now. That's kind of what I do. As far as the other side of the culture, what I do is I have the media projects Bubblarian for the Madison Public Library. Pretty much that means that I work with teaching digital literacy to different middle school, high school, juvenile detention, community centers, just kind of taking that gift of the music and teaching the music and teaching kids how to do that stuff, as well as like videography and social media marketing, all of that stuff.
Yeah. Wow. So you're like the perfect person to talk to for this video series, because I mean that's basically kind of what we're sitting down and doing,
I'm nervous. I'm an expert.
You are an expert.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. So do you think, start off with a big question here, do you think that now is the best time to be a musician, the worst time to be a musician, somewhere in between? What do you think?
Okay, you're talking to an artist that is a socially conscious artist, like the type of music that I do. I think now more so from a platform perspective, this is probably the best time to be a musician, because the current state of our climate of our country right now is almost demanding voices to speak up, and there's no better way to speak up than through the artistry and the music itself. So I feel like it's a beautiful time to be a musician, to create. I also feel like with the evolution of technology, there's no better time to jump on board, because at the push of a button, you can now be accessible to a huge platform of people. When I first started doing music, it wasn't as simple.
Right.
Right. So I think there's no better time than the present.
Gotcha. When you start teaching digital literacy and recording, what's a good place for people to start? So like maybe they're watching this and they're like, man, I want to get into starting to record. I want to get into starting to use my computer to make things maybe music wise. When somebody approaches you with that, where do you start? Where do you point them? Other than YouTube.
Yeah. Like for me, one of the biggest things, obviously in my job at the library, is I try to push the idea of access. So we have a media lab there, which is a full-fledged audio recording studio. Like we have green screen capability, all that stuff there.
Wow.
So what I try to push to people is understand your free access first to see if you like it first. If this is something that you feel like, hey, I got a chance to do this. Do that before you invest in yourself. Invest your time before you invest your money. So that's pretty much where I try to get people started. Like kids that I work with in classrooms, we work on songwriting and all that stuff, get them the idea and then say, hey, try this here. Do you like it? And then they're like, oh, I can do this all day. So now let's talk about, paying for the programs to put on your MacBook that you can now have and create and do it on your own.
Yeah. So it's the shareware aesthetic. You try before you buy.
Try before you buy.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
Since you deal with a lot of people that, a lot of younger people, right, at the library.
Right.
Is there something else that that comes out of that mentality? You see maybe other mindsets of people who've grown up in this sort of, really quick bubble of popularity,
right.
YouTube, mentality aesthetic,
Right.
YouTube bubble, we'll say.
Right. At least for me in hip hop, the genre of hip hop, like a lot of people are like, hey man, if I just got a hit song, I'm gonna blow up if I put it on YouTube. And it's like, well, it's cool when you got nice music, but what's gonna make people subscribe to your stuff is having this brand or having that you are a expert at what you do, So I think that that's one thing that if I could tell an artist that is taking that road, is not just important to have good music, but it's important to have a good brand to push. So I think that's the biggest tip that I would give to a YouTuber is like, even if you're gonna do freaking game reviews, just be an expert or like have that thing where people are gonna be tapping in to be like, this is the dude I want to watch, or she's got the thing that I want to learn about. Like you have to have that brand to get people to dig into it. So
okay, so if somebody comes up to you, they say, okay, Rob, I'm ready. I'm gonna quit my job. I'm gonna sell my house. I'm gonna burn down all my bridges. I'm gonna live out of my car. And I'm gonna be a musician full time. What's your reaction? What do you say to them? What's the first piece of advice you give them?
Good luck with that shit. No,
I love the honesty. It's great.
I would say this as someone who has been a full-time musician. The best advice that I would give you is make sure you diversify your portfolio. Like, because if you're committed to being creative, you have to find different streams of creativity to help compensate for the main source of creativity. Like, for example, I'm a musician. However, my career path involves, like I said, teaching, it involves now beat making and different other things that now make it easier for me to be able to play shows and not have to worry about, oh my God, I got to bring in 600 people in order to make $200 for every band guy and be able to pay everybody, so.
I'm not going to eat if I don't sell a CD.
Right, if I don't sell a CD, I'm screwed, you know what I'm saying? So like, I would say, get multiple revenue streams and really, and don't get frustrated if one takes more precedent, because eventually it will allow you to get to what you really love to do. So, that would be the biggest thing that I would say to any full-time musician. Don't think that you're just going to be able to play every coffee shop or you're going to sell out every show to make a substantial income, because you'll only disappoint yourself when you're rely on it. Or it could be the opposite. Maybe you could be really good at doing it and it does take off. But for most musicians that I see, like I said, learn to diversify your portfolio.
Gotcha. And the way that we're going to diversify our portfolio is through Patreon, patreon.com/SwordsOfTheTrident. If you want to see the entire uncut Rob D's interview, as well as all of the uncut interviews from the whole rest of the weekend, give us a buck, patreon.com/SwordsOfTheTrident, and you get access to all sorts of stuff. Rob, I love what you're doing in terms of the teaching, because it speaks so well to the whole, DIY aspect, to learning things yourself. Since you have so much experience with this, I'm wondering, is there an aspect of the music industry that you think every musician should DIY at least once?
I'd probably say the biggest thing that you should be able to understand is uploading your stuff. And understanding the difference between uploading for promotional exposure as opposed to business. Like, for example, when you upload a song to SoundCloud, understand sometimes that you might get 2,000 hits, but you might not make any, royalties. Understanding, so being able to understand where you want to be the DIY musician. Like, for example, I love Broad Jam. Like, that's a different avenue to open up a whole different thing for you, So being able to do it yourself and understand what level you want to do it. That will help you to understand what level you want to do. I hope I answered that correctly.
Yeah. Hey, there's no wrong answers here. It's all good.
Right. But man, I think that's important though. Like, to be able to fully upload your stuff or get your stuff in a position to be accessible to others but understand what access. Is it monetary access? Is it exposure access?
Sure.
You know, so
Yeah.
so I would definitely say that's it. To not, because I think a lot of times as musicians, we kind of are our own worst critic, and we don't necessarily do the things. You won't know if something's going to bang or not unless you throw it against the wall. You know, so learn. You know, hey, these first 5 songs, I'm just going to put on Bandcamp and SoundCloud with the expectation of making no money off of it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so learn to do that, and then figure out. Then you can figure out and gauge the level of the do-it-yourself that you want to be on.
Yeah. Are there any vestiges of like the old industry that you think are still really dramatically important in today's industry? So I'm talking like, you know, managers, labels, PR, you know, anything like that. Any old, you know, people from the old industry, you know, the pre-internet industry that we think are still really important.
I think everything you name is still important.
Yeah.
But I think the way you approach it has become a lot different. Like for example, instead of hiring a manager at 15 to 20%, you can get one of your homies that's committed to what you're doing to kind of take on that brunt at a different price. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
So I think the elements are still there, but I think the approach to it is different. Like I said, even the subtle difference in booking, like I said, from going from having a standard press kit to an EPK, well, now you need somebody to push that to different people. And if you got a homie that's got an extra 3 hours a week, and that's just what they do, that helps make things easier, you know? So I think the DIY approach to all of those things is important right now.
Gotcha.
So, but it is definitely changed from the old school where you got to call up this guy who's gonna, like I said, he's gonna get that 15 to 20%.
Right.
And it's no, and don't, please, which camera am I?
All of them.
Don't forget to pay that person that does help you out. You might not, you know, they might not get 15 to 20%, but at least take care of them for taking care of you, because that's how teamwork makes the dream work. Anyway.
Excellent. That's excellent. So since you work with a lot of new artists and younger artists, right? And since you're helping people at the library and all that sort of stuff, I'm interested in you know, the current state of social media for bands in terms of accessibility, right? Back in the old day, like, you know, maybe you could write a letter, but, you know, do you think you'd get a letter back? Who knows? Now, if there's somebody I really like, I could probably chat them on Facebook, or I could like find their page, chat their page, and there's a decent chance that they might respond, you know, especially with like mid-level acts.
Right.
Do you think that's a good thing, or do you think that's a bad thing? Do you think the loss of mystique is harmful or helpful?
The mystique has kind of disappeared, because at the push of a button, everybody can have that access. But it kind of goes to how unique are you to make people want to push that button to get that access. So like, for example, you talk about, if I want to have a direct conversation with Dr. Dre, you know, like, I'm not going to be like, yo, man, homie, you got any beats for me? Like, try to be different and unique. What's the question you want to ask? Hey, do you like raspberries on your pancakes? Does that inspire you to make beats? You know, like, so I would definitely say, you know.
Raspberries by Dre, I like that.
You know what I'm saying? Beats by Raspberries.
Beats by
Who knows? But yeah, I think that the access is super dope, but it goes back to what I was saying about like the press kit and all that stuff. You have to figure out ways to be unique. And because you gotta think, at the touch of a button, pretty much everybody has access to a person. If this person gets 1,500 hits and direct messages a day, like, it gets pretty repetitious in the same stuff over and over again. So what are you gonna do to stand out? Like, so I think that is huge. Like, I think that's huge. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So in the digital literacy realm, right, what's an internet mistake that you see a lot of maybe younger artists making when they're starting out?
For me, in the realm of hip hop, number one is, you can't take somebody else's beat and expect to blow up off of it. Like, you pull a beat off of YouTube and you think you're gonna use their beat and then make millions of dollars because you put it back on YouTube, you know? So understanding the originality as far as content, And yeah. What are other mistakes that I see? Gosh. Not understanding the importance of radio edits. Like, you could have an incredible song, but if every other word is mother, beep, 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 after a while, there gets to be too many beeps, you know?
Right.
And someone's not necessarily going to listen to it. So having radio edit is one thing that I see people younger artists make a mistake with. Probably the third thing is like it goes back to, I said, not understanding there's a brand involved.
Sure.
Like, you're putting out this type of music, but this is your thing that you want people to identify you as, or look at your uniqueness as. So
gotcha.
They'll probably be the three things.
Cool. Okay, last question.
Okay.
Is there a favorite? Does Rob Dees have a favorite tip or trick that you find yourself telling people over and over, sort of your signature thing? Do you have a favorite thing to tell young musicians for a tip?
Yeah. Tell the truth. If you have a truth and you believe in your truth, the trail will kind of open up. You know, if you get in this thing of trying to be the next, then you're not necessarily having a truth. Like, you're following a formula, and that's kind of what big music business was about. And it's like, that's kind of how the DIY style kind of has broken the industry, because people started learning to be themselves and kind of creating it from there. So I would say the biggest tidbit would be stand in your truth. Like, and I'm not saying you got to be like what you're doing is wrong truth. Nah, just own up to what you do and own it and ride with it. Like, you know, like, y'all ride with it. I love that. Like, I remember I saw y'all at the Mamas. I was like, yo, I don't understand none of this, but it's dope. Cause y'all believed in it. That was y'all truth. Like, so that's the biggest tidbit that I would give any artist. Like, be true to yourself, stand in your truth and ride it out. Like, just like you're the guy that quits your job and lives in your car and own it. Own it, ride with it, because then that helps formulate that thing. And like I said, that path will start to get created because you're in it. You know, be in it, own it, and grind it out, ride it till the wheels fall off.
That's great. That's a great note to end on. Rob, thank you so much for sitting down with me. Let them know where they can find you online. Let them know all your links.
Oh my goodness.
All the links that you want them to know. Right?
Let's see, where do I begin? I'll start with Facebook /Rob Dees, Instagram /Rob Dees. You can check out MadisonBubbler.org. Also check out TeenBubbler.org. I'm trying to think of what else I can think of. I'll just leave it at that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sitting down with us. If you want to see the entire uncut interview, go to patreon.com/Soldiers of Trident. For just $1, you not only get this entire uncut interview, you get all of the interviews we've done this entire weekend, which at this point is like 40. I don't know. It's crazy, but just $1, and you'll get all this uncut, unfiltered knowledge. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time.